world was young, the mountains green, no stain yet on the moon was seen.
Then with a crash came a great ringing shout. Ra, Ra.
3 rings for the elven kings under the sky, 7 for the dwarf lords in their halls of stone, 9 for mortal men doomed to die, 1 for the dark lord on his dark throne in the land of Mordor where the shadows lie. 1 ring to rule them all, 1 ring to find them, 1 ring to bring them all, and in the darkness bind them in the land of Mordor where the shadows lie.
Talking about Tolkien, Ben.
Talking about Tolkien.
What would Frodo do?
He'd probably make the hard choices.
Chapter 10, Book 2, final chapter of the Fellowship.
The breaking of the Fellowship.
The Fellowship breaks, Ben, for lunch.
They do. It starts that way.
See, it's on point. And I'm sure it ends that way too. I'm sure at the end they're like, "Hey guys, let's finish this journey." Oh boy. And then they leave. So they still need to make this decision. What side of the river are they going to be on? They're going to go west and go to Minas Tirith, or are they going to go east and probably die trying to take the ring directly to Sauron's doorstep? Which way are we going to go? And Aragorn, he has a nightmare. He wakes Frodo up. He tells Frodo to draw a sting. It's glowing. Very faintly. So the orcs aren't like right on top of them, but they're near enough that Sting's reacting. I don't know the precise radius. It's not good, man.
Yeah.
It's not good.
No, I'd say like you're probably within a football field of some orcs.
Yeah. Yeah, and we know they're on the other side of the river, but we also kind of suspect that they might be crossing or have already crossed to this side. That river is not going to protect us forever, or ever, really. It's I think we're kind of screwed. They know exactly where they are because of all the commotion from the night before. They're all breaking. That's what the Fellowship does. They break, and and Frodo is like, okay, I need an hour to decide. There's so much I need to just go over. So I'm gonna wander off into these here woods. I'll be back in an hour. You know, I'm gonna go to get some milk and some pack of cigarettes. I'll be back in an hour to tell you my decision on which way we go with the ring. And Frodo is sitting down. He's thinking. Then he has this sudden like fear, like he's being watched by unfriendly eyes. It's just my pal Boromir. Boromir is like, hey, we should go to Minas Tirith. Be great. Think we should still go that way. Think we could we do some great things, you know? And Frodo's like, no, I think I know what I have to do. I just I'm afraid to do it. And that he's also he doesn't think he can really trust Gondor's strength. And hey, Frodo, the stupid thing all over a ring. Can I see it, by the way? Can I see the ring? Like, I only saw it once in Rivendell long ago, and I just want to see the ring. Can I see that for just a moment?
No.
And then Boromir becomes my friend from middle school whenever he started losing video games. I didn't care about it anyway. I didn't even care about the ring. That's just a stupid ring anyway.
Okay, bye.
Yeah, anyway, ring's power. Maybe, and hear me out. Elrond and Gandalf were just a little bunch of bitches, right? They couldn't handle the awesome power of the ring. But did you see me dig through that snow, Frodo?
I saw you run from that Balrog.
I blew my horn at it.
You did, yeah.
Men's hearts are too pure to just be corrupted. We're too beefy and manly and I know what we're gonna do, right? Instead of destroying it, give it to me after I start shouting like a madman about throwing down Sauron and becoming a benevolent god king.
You
I
know,
hope.
Boromir, I gotta say, the choice, I was agonizing over it, but it is becoming clearer what I need to do now.
Awesome. So we're going to Gondor then, right? Like that's I convinced you with my ravings like a lunatic that Gondor is the way to go.
Yeah, meet you there.
And Boromir's like, burden's too great for you. Maybe you could just you don't have to tell them that you gave me the ring. You can say that I took it from you because I was too strong. Actually, you know what? I am too strong. And then strangely enough, he does not become a jump scare monster because the book describes that he could have been a jump scare monster. So the movie uses some restraint there, and he lunges at Frodo, and Frodo just puts on the ring and bye.
I I didn't know it could do that. Never actually seen anyone put on the ring. Well, who'd have thought it would grant you the power to control armies and also turn invisible for some reason.
Shit.
That one's on Boromir, I guess.
Would it help if I said I'm sorry? Is that maybe we can still be friends?
Fuck you.
Boromir starts crying like a little bitch. And Frodo makes his way up into the seeing chair, and he sees everything, Ben. In every direction there is a war.
Yeah.
And for a moment, he sees Minas Tirith, and he's like, oh, that's a pretty big citadel. That's actually bigger than anyone described. We might actually stand a chance. And then he looks just a little to the left over there, and Mordor is like 10 times bigger and just fucking giant, and he loses all hope. He's like, there's no way that Gondor is winning this fight. They are hopelessly outmatched. They are screwed. And then he sees an eye, Ben, because that's all Sauron is. That's canon now. He sees the eye, and the eye is now aware of his presence and knows that Frodo's looking at him. And he's trying to figure out where exactly Frodo is. He doesn't quite get the exact location down. He knows Frodo's like in the general area. He it's described as like his mind touches down on the other side of the river, the west bank, and it's feeling around but doesn't quite get him. And then Frodo, and this is where I just wrote Ben will probably explain this. He shouts never or maybe I'll come to you, but he couldn't tell. And then he hears a voice in his mind telling him to take the ring off. I got a lot of questions about all this, Ben. Number one, would Sauron have even been able to see him had he not had the ring on when he sat in the chair?
That's a tough one. I think the chair is magic. That's something that's not,
or it's just a common run of the mill elf chair, and
we don't know how do you build them? Deer is not allowed you to see for ever to the edge of the earth. Wow. How much would you pay for a chair like that? $5,000, $6,000? God. No, so it's a magic chair. That's not clear in the movie. In the movie, you think it's the Sauron doing it all.
See, I didn't think that, but that's because I was tainted by the book. I already knew it was a magic chair.
But yeah, so it's magic chair, and he's sitting in it, and the chair kind of it's operating on the same principle as the Palantir a little bit, in that in whatever direction Frodo looks, he can see as far as he wants to see, and he's kind of like willing all different directions. He's gazing all over, And when he looks at Sauron. And I think the ring certainly doesn't help. I think the ring adds a layer to it, magnifies Frodo's presence probably. But I'm guessing if anyone sat in that chair and looked directly at Sauron, there's a good chance Sauron would notice.
Gotcha.
What?
No, I said gotcha. Like, getcha. I'm on board. I'm aware.
And then when Frodo takes the ring off, and so it's unclear because he takes the ring off and he gets off the chair at about the same time. And then the shadow passes over him and Sauron can't see him. But I think that's because Frodo's presence is no longer being magnified jointly by the chair and the ring. But it's not as like if just it's got to be partly the chair too, because when Frodo puts on the ring, Sauron can't see him. Like Sauron didn't see Frodo as soon as he put on the ring to escape Boromir. He saw it when Frodo got in the chair and specifically looked at Sauron. But I have also heard, though I think this is a bit of a stretch, when it says there came to his mind another thought, take it off, fool, take it off, take off the ring. People have said, is that Gandalf talking to him from the beyond?
No, I didn't think that.
No,
I
don't
was
think so.
wondering if there was some sort of other power in play, but I did not think it was Gandalf.
No, this is one where I feel pretty strongly that it is Frodo at war with himself. I definitely think his mind is being fractured by the ring and he's rebelling against it, trying to take control again. I don't think it's, if you could say that there's another power, it could just be that God's given him a little nudge of willpower, but I do not think any other power is actually speaking those words to him. But there is some of the descriptions are actually pretty interesting. Like when you say Frodo looks everywhere and he sees war, the misty mountains were crawling like anthills. Orcs were issuing out of 1,000 holes. Under the boughs of Mirkwood there was deadly strife of elves and men and fell beasts. The land of the Bearnains was aflame. A cloud was over Moria. Smoke rose on the borders of Lorien. Horsemen were galloping. This is actually going to be important. Horsemen were galloping on the grass of Rohan. Wolves poured from Isengard. From the havens of Harad, ships of war put out to sea, and out of the east men were moving endlessly, swordsmen, spearmen, bowmen upon horses, chariots of chieftains and laden wains. All the power of the Dark Lord was in motion. But yes, and then he sees Minas Tirith, and it's like, wow, that's awesome. And then he sees Osgiliath. It used to be awesome. And then he sees Minas Morgul. Uh-oh. And then Gorgoroth. Oh, God. And then the Valley of Terror in the land of Mordor. Jesus fucking Christ. And then, yes, at last, Barad-dûr and Sauron himself. There's a huge difference from the movie here. Because in the movie, I understand this is the epic climax. A bunch of things need to come together. But I'll just tell you now, the book ends without any fighting.
Yeah, Boromir is still alive at the end of this book.
Yeah. So basically,
and he'll continue to be alive possibly forever. We'll just have to find out in the next book.
Yeah, so Frodo makes his decision. He decides that the ring is already corrupting the company. There are some he can't trust. The ones he can trust, he can't do this to them. He can't make them follow him.
Yeah, Aragorn needs to get laid, bro.
Well, he says that he's watched Aragorn struggle with his own mission, with his commitment to helping Minas Tirith, He knows that Aragorn wants to do that, so he doesn't want to take Aragorn from that. He doesn't want to subject the other hobbits to the tortures of the ring, so he's going to have to go alone. And he doesn't say anything about Gimli or Legolas, but he's like, yeah, I've known them for a couple months.
Yeah,
I'm
fuck
not.
'em.
Yeah, fuck them. So, so he puts on the ring again, proving that that's not why Sauron could see him. And he heads down.
Meanwhile, Aragorn is like, okay, I think we need a smaller company to go east. I don't think we go to Gondor. I think a smaller company is the way to go. Sam, obviously you have to go because you will glue yourself to Frodo. You'll handcuff yourself to him. We could not get rid of you if we tried. So you'll go. I'll go, I guess. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. I'll go. I'm not mad about it. And Gimli, for some reason, you'll go. And then Boromir and everyone else will go to Minas Tirith. What do you think about that, Boromir? Hey, where's Boromir, guys?
Well, so actually, it's Sam that says it because they're all talking about like, what are we going to do if Frodo decides to keep taking the ring east? And that's when Sam's like, you guys don't understand Frodo.
No, Sam correctly deduces Frodo's plan.
Yeah, he's like, you guys don't understand Frodo. And I'll just read the quote. He isn't hesitating about which way to go. Of course not. What's the good of Minas Tirith anyway? To him. I mean, begging your pardon, Master Boromir. Master Boromir? Boromir's not here, guys. That's when Aragorn's like, oh, shit.
And Boromir returns looking all sad, and he's like, I got mad at him because I was trying to argue my point, like, argue with just my words,
Facts and
nothing
logic.
else.
I owned him with facts and logic, and then he ran away like the liberal he is.
The liberal cuck. So,
and Aragorn says, I don't think that sounds right, Boromir. Boromir's like, that's all I have to say on the matter.
Yeah. And so we gotta find Frodo. Everyone, Aragorn is like, all right, we're gonna split up, and hey, where is everyone going? No one respects my authority. Everyone's running every which direction. He's like, Boromir, you need to go after Merry and Pippin because they're gonna get lost, and like a stiff breeze will kick their ass. Let's be real.
Also,
here.
they forgot that we're surrounded by orcs on all sides, and we're attacked nightly, and they're just screaming now. They're just screaming for Frodo. So
Boromir, make them stop talking too while you're at it. And then he grabs Sam, and he just outruns Sam because he's a big old man, and Sam's a little tiny thing. And Sam's like, well, wait a minute. Okay, I'm not fast, but I'm good old Sam Wise Smart Gamgee. That's his name now. Look, he sees the boat moving. He's a smart man. He's figured it out.
He sees a boat moving all on its own.
He's
and unlike Boromir, Sam did know the ring could do that.
Sam figured out Frodo's plan, and then also figured out how he was going to enact his plan. He was like, well, Frodo is going to go on his own, but he can't go on his own without any supplies. And what would be really helpful for carrying those supplies? A boat. Got him. And then he jumps and falls into the river because he hates rivers, but he loves Frodo. So he braves his fear of the river for Frodo. And then Frodo gets him out, and they go raid some supplies, and they run away.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
And that's the end. That's the end of the book. Boromir is still alive and could be forever, for all we know.
Yeah, and Sam does not make his epic speech about how he made a promise, Mr. Frodo, a promise. You can't break a promise, and I don't mean to. And then they cry and hug. But in the book, that's not what they say. In the book, Frodo says, "It's no good trying to escape you, but I'm glad, Sam. I cannot tell you how glad. Come along. It is plain that we were meant to go together." That's about it. Yeah, and that's the end. They get to the other shore. They hide the boat, and then they shoulder their packs, and they walk off into the land of shadow. I'll admit, even we talked a little bit early on about how Tolkien did not want to divide these into 3 books. And honestly, these days, he might not have had to. People talk about how detailed Lord of the Rings is, but I'm going to tell you the book is 450 pages or so, and that's about less than half the length of a typical fantasy book these days.
That's only like 3 times the length of what would Skeletor do. So,
but there's some good lines in this. Probably the most interesting thing lore-wise is, of course, Boromir finally being taken by the ring, and the chair of Aemon Hen. And presumably there's 2 banks of this with 2 fortresses, the Fortress of Seeing and the Fortress of Hearing. Presumably, if you wanted to spy on people and listen to what they were saying, you would go to the other one. If you wanted to watch, you would go to this one. That's how
And can anyone activate it?
I believe so. I believe
so
this.
Can there be an orc over in that other chair being like, they keep shouting for some guy named Frodo. They're running off and splitting up their group. Let's get them.
I don't see why not, to be honest with you. I don't think they have a reason to do that, because I think they got the halflings when they catch Merry and Pippin. I don't think they realize that Frodo and Sam exist.
As it should be.
But yeah, this is how the kings of old would secure their borders. They would.
What was their tax policy, though?
Probably a percentage of your grain and livestock. It's a feudal system. Don't know where they collected it, but yeah. It's strange that this is going to be one of the shorter chapters we cover, but it's kind of, we all knew it was coming. And now the stage is set. The next book is going to start with the chapter. I forget what it's called, but it's like Boromir.
Like Boromir is fucked.
It's
Farewell,
Boromir departs or something. It doesn't just straight up tell you he's going to die, but it's it's the end of his time with the Fellowship, one way or another. And yeah, it's a lackluster end to the book. So yeah, there's a lot of back and forth letters between Tolkien and his publisher. He's always trying to sell the Silmarillion and the Lord of the Rings as 2 books. And in this case, I'm reading letter 126. If you follow that, this is a draft. I don't know if he sent. But he says, he's referencing a previous letter that I noted that the mass of text naturally divides only between the Silmarillion and the Lord at about 600,000 words each, but that the latter is not divisible except into artificial fragments, and that he will not be surprised if they decline to be involved in this monstrous saga, and it's a bit of a bummer for him. He does not want to do this division, and that's why we have this ending that we have, and that's why this is a big part of the reason the movies, like, this seems strange to say now in the context of there being like the award-winningest movies of all time made about these books, but like there was a time where it was considered impossible to adapt this into a film. And I think this is part of the reasons, because this is not a first act. This just stops. This is not a natural place
Solution:
for.
you just take part of the other book, grab them.
Yeah.
Easy.
Well, we're also going to see that Boromir's arc is not as good in the book, I would say. It's both. He's different because Boromir doesn't have an arc in the book. In the book, he's a cool guy. He's the most susceptible to the ring because he has the most fear. He's genuinely, afraid of the genocide of his people. And
Coward.
he wants that the ring works on that and corrupts him. And
He would have been a great king.
He wouldn't have been a terrible king.
You just have to overthrow the Dark Lord, and then you just institute a tax policy that's genocidal so that you can save the day.
I got to imagine if you have access to the treasury of Mordor, you're not going to need taxes for a very long time.
Fair point.
Sauron's been hoarding mithril and gold. He's been paying tons of mercenaries from the east. Yeah, you're good with that. With that war of conquest, you're good for a little bit. But yeah, Boromir is just a cool guy who gets corrupted in the books. And so it doesn't necessarily mean as much when he dies. He's not really like redeeming himself in the same way as he is in the movies. It's just more of like a tale from the sagas where he
tried to take the ring from Frodo.
He's a heroic dude who does what heroic dudes do. And so, yeah, it's, that's the end. I mean, that's just where we have to end. So I guess if you're following talking about Tolkien, the big question on your mind is going to be how long until the next chapter where we find out what actually happens. I think we talked about this. We're probably going to take a month off between books.
Yeah.
We'll do no more than 4 weeks, I think. We need to take a little bit of a break to catch up on some editing. Got a few other projects we're trying to do. If you are a patron, you will get the episodes as soon as I finish editing them, which will likely be before they would come out on the main feed. We will probably have at least 2 episodes ahead, I think. And there will also be some other projects coming out on the Patreon that will hopefully make the wait not as terrible. But yeah, we'll be back with the Two Towers in June, I would say. All right. Well then.
Goodbye.
Enjoy the cliffhanger.
The road goes ever on and on, down from the door where it began. Now far ahead the road is gone, and I must follow it, if I can, pursuing it with eager feet until it joins some larger way, where many paths and errands meet. And whither then, I cannot say.